Recording. The video is started.
What's up, everybody? What's up, everybody?
Welcome, everybody.
My name is John Graves.
My name is John Graves.
My name is John Graves.
Called Rich, Not Rich.
So this is Rich Not Rich.
A show called Rich Not Rich.
Now, I don't know what this man is talking about. But we went
1, 2, 3.
Rich Not Rich.
What's up, everybody? You already know who I am, and just in case you don't, just in case this showed up on your feed randomly or on your Explore page, my name is John Graves III. I'm from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and right now I am in my studio, JGP Studio, which doubles as a store. Here's the cool stuff, and we are shooting my show called Rich Not Rich, all right? So thank you for joining. If you have never seen any of the clips, feel free to go back and watch and catch up on the things that you've missed. But I'm not going to prolong this, John, all right? I got my sister friend next to me, Monica Yvonne Beauty Brains and Brilliance. And style, okay? That don't start with a B, but, you know, she got style. So Rich Not Rich is about people and influencers, colleagues in the business, whether it be education, health, wellness, politics, arts, ministry, whatever it is. We have experiences and journeys and stories that I feel like are influential, inspirational, motivational, but also truth. True. Sometimes we tell stories and it's not that they're lies, but we only tell the good parts. Well, Rich Not Rich is about all the things that it takes to become rich. Now, I'm talking, I don't know her financial status, you know what I mean? I don't want to make no assumptions. But this is not about being rich with finances. It's about being rich with substance, value, lessons, blessings, and giving gems and serving others and giving them things that they can take on and implement in their lives to become the best possible people they can be, okay? In other words, closer to who God calls you to be. And I believe that in my art and the things that I do, that's all I'm trying to do. I'm trying to be the closest, I'm trying to get to the closest man I can be to my original design, and I'm trying to give others the permission to do the same thing, all right? So without further ado, I want to introduce you to Monica Yvonne. She's going to tell you a little bit about herself, and we're just going to powwow, like we typically do, about life, love, business, creativity, and cool stuff.
Yes. Well, hello, everyone. Thanks so much, John, for having
My
me
pleasure,
on
sis.
the podcast. Yes. As you know, my name is Monica Yvonne Brain Beauty Brilliance, but as long as you get the 3 B's right.
Wait, what did I say?
Beauty, brains, Billy.
Oh, it was a...
Brains.
Brains is first.
Yes.
Brains, beauty, brilliance. Okay. I won't get that wrong no more! No!
Listen, it's all good. It's all good. So what do I do? Eat all of the above. I think I'm not the only one that feels like that sometimes. But it'd be easy to say that I am an influencer, but I can just say what the roles that I have. The one thing that I do is that I teach and that I live freedom in life. If you come into connection with me, you will be empowered to live and you'll be empowered to be free. And I'm not going to tell you to do something that I'm not living because I don't want to be fraudulent. Outside of that, I am a caregiver. I would say my journey in this stage of my life started about 10 years ago when my father died of a sudden massive heart attack, and it forever changed the dynamics of my life. It was a completely paradigm shift, and I went right into caregiving for my mom. And in that process, it was me discovering who I am again after being disappointed by God, or disappointed by Yahweh if you're Hebrew, right? And so in this journey, I am now here 10 years later, loving me in the best way that I can. And it's not just about style and fashion, even though that's a lot of my journey, but it's just been the evolution of myself, of maturity, of healing, and taking people out of my equation and placing myself there so that I can be in proper placement with myself.
Proper placement with myself. Oh, you know what? I'm like, why did I just hear this? Why did I just hear those words? And it was because when you came to do the panel at the Black Business Expo, that was one of your tips.
Yeah.
To say again.
Be in proper placement.
Be in proper placement with yourself. Can you lean into that a little more?
Okay, leaning into that, most of us, most people, we put people in place of ourselves. We say God, right? Love God, love people, but it's really love God, love yourself, and then people. Even in the commands we hear, the scripture says that love your neighbor as yourself, but somehow we take us out of the equation. And while everybody talks about self-love, it's like it's founded in scripture. So at what point in time did you think loving somebody else was this great act of selflessness, which all you did was just deny the things that you needed to be who you're meant to be in the earth? And so I believe that you have to stay in proper placement with you. It's not my responsibility to make sure that everybody is okay above myself. When I make sure that I'm okay and I'm making a proper investment into me, everything else follows. And if the promises that I believe are yes and amen, then that's both and. So I don't ever have to separate between the two. I get to have all of the things, but we make all of the things so complicated and so complex because we think we have to do all these things, when the truth is all I have to do is love myself well and do it unapologetically, and do it in a sense where no one gets to put me in a box. I get to properly define myself, and I get to evolve and grow into that, even if it means that the definition of that becomes much deeper to me.
This all sounds amazing. I know that this is things that by your own admission, these are things that you've been learning and have learned through some situations and some things that have transpired in your life. Talking to someone who may not have those kind of experiences, but can listen in and learn without the heartache. You know what I mean? And can learn a few tools, a few tips, like how do I put myself first? You know, in a world where putting others seems, or when I have children, or when I have a husband, or if I have a wife, you know, how do I put myself first if I haven't learned those kind of things?
So I want to tell you my journey of self-care. That's how I put myself first. It's self-care. Every Saturday, if you follow me on social media, hashtag self-care Saturday. Every Saturday, I do something for me. It doesn't matter what it is. It could be I slept in. That's what I did for me. It can be I went outside. It does not mean that I had to spend money. Okay. But it means that I have an intentionality about that. And I choose Saturday. Now, of course, the hope and the goal is that I do something for myself every day. But the intentional focus for me now is on Saturdays. And that came out of a realization through coaching, through life coaching, that I was putting everything else above myself. And so till this day, 5 years later, I practice that every single Saturday, and there's been an evolution of that. But I want to tell you that self-care and putting yourself first is not the aesthetically pleasing thing that we see on social media. Go to the spa, get a massage, get your hair done, get your nails done. But the things that could be a part of your hygiene or your daily maintenance is a form of self-care, but that may not be the self-care that gets you to being better. And so I want to say that self-care equals self-confrontation. You cannot care for what you don't confront. And so that means you may have to clean your house, you may have to do laundry. I've learned that self-care means doing things that I don't like to do so I can do the things that I like to do. That's really self-care. And so how you put yourself first, start small. Start with 5 minutes, and it can be self-affirmation. When was the last time you said to yourself, I'm proud of me? I was guilty of that even this year. I don't think until this year I've even said I'm proud of me. That's Brain Beauty Brilliance. That's you know, that's that all the things. I'm like, girl.
We're not trained, or we're not taught to really pay attention to ourselves. In fact, we're taught the opposite. You know, not to come off too proud, not to come off boastful, not to say too many things about yourself, not to be conceited. And I would say that all of those things are true, but what they did for me was they made me hide a lot of myself unintentionally. But by God's grace, He used other things in my life, like art, to counteract what was happening because I was kind of downgrading myself or downplaying myself. Something you said that I wanted to touch on, it popped up in me. You didn't say it, but it was a result of what you said. You can't heal what you can't name. And a lot of people try to. Now, that's twofold for me. Now, I'm not going to name it because I don't even know it exists.
Right.
That's one. Two, here's another one. I'm not going to name it because I don't want to give the devil away, give him the victory. So if I say I'm sick, he wins. If I say I have a mental disorder, the devil wins. If I say I have an eating disorder, the devil wins. Now, I don't believe that. Right. But I know that's what a lot of people are taught. That, even as it relates to identity, you may not want to say, you don't know who you are, but you got to say something in order to get to the next move. Right. This whole notion of staying where you are and stopping because of ignorance or the inability to move forward or fear, you're still not moving. Facts. So I say name it, and then it's time to move. So that was in relation to something you said that I wish I could go back to, but I think I hit it on the nail with you can't name it, you can't heal it.
Yeah, I was saying you can't care for what you can't.
There it is. Mm-hmm. Same notion. Yeah. Same notion. And thank you for saying that. As an artist, one of the things that I deal with on a almost daily basis when I work with artists is their inability to identify certain things about themselves, about their art, not about their life, just about their art. Mm-hmm. But I'd be like, man, if you can't identify this stuff about yourself as it relates to this performance, what else are you not really realizing as it relates to yourself? Right. Because if we're putting out all of this energy for everybody, to everybody, there's no way to take an inventory about who you are, which is what you said.
Right. Because even in art and creativity, they use it as a way of escape. But if you're not going to address what you're escaping from, you are now polishing a facade. You're polishing a false reality that gets an applaud. And then the dangerous part is that you'll take the facade and make it your identity, and still never knowing who you are and never investing into the greatness that you are without that. And so we can't be careful about using outlets and making outlets our identity. Because it's like, for a lot of believers out there, I'm not sure if everybody's belief that's watching this, but if you're a Christian or you're a kingdom believer, you get saved, right? And we believe we're sons and daughters. But no sooner as you find out that you have an anointing or a calling, you identify the task or you identify the assignment as your identity. And that's not true, because when you put a thing on who you are, instead of putting the characteristics and allowing yourself to grow and be in the journey of it, that's how you get stuck. And so even for the creative, we use the arts as a means of escape, like a drug, like a high, like an addiction. So you can be a great actress, but what part of your acting becomes a way that you don't come back home to take that role off to be able to deal with you? And so for me, for the past 10 years and maybe longer, I've been dealing with me to the point where, yes, I think I'm great. And I should think I'm great. And I should love me well. And this love that I have for myself has allowed me to put up boundaries. Boundaries with people. Allow me to identify my why clearer. Allow me to know why I say no and why I say yes. So I become intentional with myself. And so my no is no. And now my yes is more meaningful, because what I pour and give my yes into is going to be something that outlives me, outspeaks me, outlasts me.
I would say that you said a lot of powerful things just now. A lot of them resonate with me because I said a lot of those positive things and I make powerful moves. But I want to talk about right before I made those moves or whatever that thing was, I was afraid. I was afraid of losing people. I was afraid of being misunderstood. I was afraid that people, not me being misunderstood, but my work. Right. You know what I mean? That it might be too abstract or it could be about anything. And I gotta say that after it's all said and done, not that I'm done, but years have gone by, right, I haven't lost anything. You know what I mean? I haven't lost anything. And I was reminded by what you just said. So you just said a whole bunch of I am this, I am that, and you took some time and you said no, you said you set up boundaries. Now I don't know your life, sister, but from the outside looking in, it doesn't seem like you lost anything. Now I'm not talking about loss.
Right.
I'm talking about the things that you were afraid of losing when you decided to say no. Right. The people that matter are still there. My friends that are my friends are still there. And what's most banging about this thing is what's my best asset isn't here.
Yes.
And I haven't lost that. And so the things that I've been doing to get closer to myself, saying no, whether it be prayer, meditation, saying yes, whatever it is. I used to be afraid of missing out. I want to miss something if I go to sleep on time. I'm going to miss something. I haven't missed a thing. And all these years, I'm saying, go ahead and make those moves. The people that are for you, they're going to be there. The people that love you, they're going to love you still. The people that have listened. I've made some huge mistakes in my life, some public and some private. And most people have been with me through my mistakes because fans, I'm talking about family and friends, but fans too. Fans understand life. They understand that life goes like this. Okay? It gets weird when you go down and don't get back up. It gets weird when you go up and don't come back down.
Right.
So fans love authenticity and they want to see ups and downs. I'm not saying highs and lows are bad or good. I'm just saying wherever you are, they want to see that. And so my fans, my family and friends have really stuck it out with me, whether I've been suffering, whether I've experienced loss in my family, whether I was getting ready to close, somebody broke in, whether I didn't have enough money, needed to put up a GoFundMe, nobody came to a show, but da-da-da-da-da. So I just want to say that if you are worried about your whole world crashing when you start thinking about yourself, your world is crashing because you're not thinking about yourself. You just don't know it's crashing.
That part.
You don't know that things are crumbling around you. I thought I was helping people. I wasn't helping people. I was hurting people. And I thought I was service. I wasn't being of service. I was serving, but I just gave a really good example about serving, and I'll give a quick story about that. When I go on tour, sis, we don't have money here. You know, so what happens is, what I mean by that is a tour will cost about $60,000.
Right.
All right.
And that's
on the low end.
That's the low end.
On the low end. And what people don't realize is that you got to be paid for the bus, the hotel, the theater, and all those kind of things. No issue. It comes with the territory. But somebody got to pay for that stuff.
Right.
So what goes down is I do a lot of fundraising, I do a lot of saving my own money, and I wouldn't take anything back. I would have no regrets, none, all right? But here's the fact. I took people on a tour and on a trip that never been on the stage. They would have never been on a tour. They would have never been in a hotel. They would have did a play. So I'm saying, good, but also I served, but I'm still left without.
Yeah. Because
the person I took away is now gone. So it has to be some point where you're like, okay, I've been given and nobody's giving me anything, and I'm not expecting. I'm not saying to y'all give me something. I'm saying I should have took some time out to give myself something.
That's right. Because what happens is we end up our assignments will deplete us if we do not have a source pouring back into us. We're supposed to be giving of the overflow and from the abundant place.
The overflow, say it one more time. We're supposed to be giving from
the overflow.
From the overflow. I say this all the time.
Not just from the part that makes us 100%.
Or your last.
Right.
Giving your last does not make you Christ. It does not make you God. Me giving my last does not equal me giving out my last son or my begotten son.
Number one, he did done that, okay?
He did done that already.
Yes. I am not the God of no one. You are not, or you should not allow yourself to be the God of anyone. I can't rescue you from yourself. It is the decision of people, just like you have to make it for you, and I had to make it for me. Other individuals have to do that. And if you are trying to always be there and be the person that does it all for an individual, you disable them and you cause them to be off track and out of time and out of alignment with with the hard things that they need to learn. You trying to be there and rescue them disables them. It disables them. It crutches them.
I got a homie who's still, no shade to anybody living with their parents, all right? I got a homie who's still living with his mom. He about 30 something, and she pays for, she don't live with him, I'm sorry. She pays for his rent. He has an apartment. He pays for his rent. He don't got no job. He do DoorDash or whatever. And wait a minute, I'm gonna pause this, but I forgot my point with this story.
Disablement.
Yeah, there you go. Okay, there you go. So she does all this. She does all this for him, and I always want to say to her, because she looks so sad. She looks so sad. You know what I mean? She's concerned, but she feels guilty. And I'm like, sis, I know your son is my best friend.
Don't feel
He's
guilty.
running amok on you, lady.
Don't feel guilty about no adults.
Yeah, I mean, like, come on. Look, don't. I want to be like, listen, you are disabling him, or
Right.
you are just. He doesn't know how to live on his own.
And here's the thing about disablement: if you're not careful, it can cause permanent damage. If you've ever been in a car accident before, and there's a disability rating, and there's a percentage of disablement that you have, don't be adding to someone's percentage of disablement that they cannot come back from, because the poverty mentality is, I'm just going to go ahead and collect this disability check, and I'm not, and understand that I'm not trying to offend those who have real life situations and that's what you need, but don't try to tweak and work a system because you're lazy and don't want to do the work. And you cannot do somebody else's work for them. They have to do their own work. You have to do your own work. So how dare you, or how dare us, or how dare me, because this was me at one point, doing everybody else's work and neglecting my own. How would I make somebody else's vineyard or somebody else's field green and mine is over here brown? Why? So then if someone looked at me, I would almost be disqualified to say. So when my opportunity comes, when the thing I've worked hard for, I prayed for, I cried over, I waited for is my time, I now look unqualified because I didn't do the work, so focused on everybody else.
And what's continuing to go on is time.
Yeah.
Time can be a friend or an enemy, and what makes the difference is our awareness.
Yes.
It was helping others and setting boundaries and things like that. So one of the ways that I was able to do that, because I would feel really guilty for saying no, but let me tell you where it helped me say no. When I got this store, it helped me say no for a number of reasons. One, because I work here, meaning like I can't be everywhere and still be in the store. So I would close the store and help somebody out. And then I realized they wouldn't come and shop. So it made it having a store made it very easy to kind of gauge things, because if people ain't coming to shop, they actually not going to ask me to help them because they kind of think I'm going to call them out on it. You know what I mean? And then it's the energy that I gave off too. Not that I'm like, but also that I'm not going to stop, that I'm going to continue, that I'm going to thrive, that I'm going to continue to serve. So this is how I help myself. I didn't necessarily say no. I would offer help. And even in offering help or serving others, people weren't ready. For example, this happens all the time. All right, 100 people are going to be mad at me because they're going to think I'm talking about them. Sorry.
Not sorry.
People want me to read a script, and I used to read they want to put up a play. So it starts with, could you read my script and give me some feedback? And I would spend a lot of time reading these 40, 50 page scripts just to say that they were good, or they say that they were bad, or give my feedback, and the show would never even go up. So I felt like I was doing this for free, because I always felt like, free, whatever. Anyway, I would do all this, and I started putting things in place. I said, okay, before I read this, I need a list of characters, and I need a synopsis. You think that's a given, right, Monica?
Right.
No, it's not a given.
Is it because they didn't take your class?
It's because they never took a class.
They didn't take your class.
You're doing a shameless plug, but I always talk about class and people talk about me. It's because I am around, not in JGP, but I'm surrounded by artists. I'm surrounded by artists who take class and who don't take class. Not here, but I go out and I sit and I watch and I observe, and I bring it all the way back to Philly. I know you didn't mean to go here, but I'm going to just go here for a second. In that paramount education is important, and people, especially artists, they think that their education is Instagram, the BET Awards, or YouTube.
YouTube University.
And it's not. Like the arts is one thing where you actually got to get in front of somebody, and the arts is actually another thing that you can't teach yourself everything about.
That's right.
How can you teach yourself to dance and you're not a dancer? How can you teach yourself to sing and you're not a singer? So it's possible that you can move the needle forward, but if you're talking about reaching your fullest potential, you got to do it that way. Now, bringing it back to the full circle about what we're talking about is somebody asking me to read their script, or they want to do a play, but they don't have a list of characters or synopsis. That's common. That's just somebody that wants you to do it for them, or just, it ain't even about that. What it's about was, I didn't even have to say no. They weren't ready for me.
Right. But let's talk about the point of, and why weren't they ready? For the lack of investment in themselves. Even though it is not a shameless plug, this is his show. He can talk about Dragon Games Productions, and I'm going to always talk about it because I am a major supporter of the company. 100% because of what it's done for my life. But you have to invest in yourself. Going back to that self-care point. What are you investing in you? And I understand we want to do everything for free. Let me be clear. Monica Yvonne is not for free, and I'm not for the faint. I have to know who I'm for. You can't come to John Grace Productions without buying the ticket. I don't know any play that you could come to without purchasing something. And so when you approach people, what kind of investment have you made? But it has to be because you did the investment in yourself first. So the investment comes in forms of education. It comes in the form of self-care. Self-care can be going back to school, no matter how much it costs. Self-care is that you obliterated fear because you confronted it and you were able to break the generational curse that was on your life and do something different in your family, even though there are so many naysayers. See, when you invest in yourself, and as I invested in me, I learned that the voice of deception was silent.
The voice of deception, because I told a sister the other day, and God had dropped this in my heart. It's a large statement, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And it could confuse people, but it is this. Everything you going through is a lie.
Right.
Everything you going through is a lie. And when God told me that, it wasn't about anything specific, it was about the enemy.
Right.
If I'm convinced that every word that comes out of the mouth of the enemy is a lie.
Right.
If I'm convinced that everything that comes out of God's mouth is the truth,
that's right,
then everything I'm going through is a lie.
Right. So let's talk about that for one moment, about the deceit. The biggest trick of the enemy is that he will tell you something that sounds like the truth, but it's not. That's what happened to Eve. It sounded like the truth, but it wasn't, right? And so when you are in the conundrum of feeling overwhelmed, because that's how we end up making mistakes, and that's how we end up second guessing ourselves, or despair. That's how we can get down to the path of triggers that can trigger mental health challenges for us. But when we're able to decipher the truth and know this part is true but this part is a lie, and so what I've done and what I do, and my biggest encouragement for others, is sit down with it and actually see it for what it is in black and white.
I was watching the video, don't know who it was, but he was talking about, all right, when I go out and I get something, I already have what I'm going out for. That's what he said. This is how I took it. When I need to get around for a car, all right, but I got 2 feet, but just go on this trip with me. I want to get an expensive car, a new car, a brand new situation, the one I want, because not that I want the car, I want what comes with the car. I want the attention, I want the fame, I want people looking at me, or at the basic level, I want the feeling that I know I'm going to get when I get something new.
Right.
Okay?
New car smell.
That feeling when I buy it. The crazy thing is, I'm going to get the feeling. I'm in search for, hold on, I'm buying the car, but I'm really in search for the feeling after the car. But what if I could get the feeling without the car?
That's right. Yeah.
Because that's what I want. I don't want the car, Monica.
Right.
I think I want the car, but I want the feeling. I think I want money, but I want the feeling that comes with money. I think I want fame, but I want the feelings that come with fame. I want to experience, but I've learned that I don't need these things to get those feelings.
And I've learned that too. I've learned that too. And for me and my journey and my testimony, right, my story, is that happened when I just let it go.
Lay it down.
I just let it go. Stop trying to hold all the chips together. If it's going to fall, let it fall. But I'm scared that it's going to fall out from underneath me. You will land safely.
You got the resume, Monica, but if you're here, still here, you've got a resume of falling and standing, falling and rising. And the enemy, what he'll do is just remind you about how many times you've fallen without reminding you that you got back up. There's no way you could pray unless you was alive. Right. There's no way you could complain unless you had breath in your body.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
I'm still here. I'm still here. Look in the mirror and tell yourself, or even say it out loud as you're watching this, I'm still here and I will be here.
You say self-care a lot.
Yeah.
And so actually every time I see a post, it's about self-care.
Right.
And the idea is, for me, I've never heard the term that much, you know, and honestly, I know it's not exclusive to women, but I just rarely hear men talk about self-care.
Yeah.
But when I do think about self-care, it does seem like momentarily. It does seem like, okay, self-care is, I'm going to get a haircut, and then self-care is over. But I now, from having this conversation with you, self-care is continual. So just because I go out and get I go to the gym, self-care doesn't stop at the gym. It's a process. It goes on and on and on. So I want to live in the lifestyle of taking care of myself in a way that is, and that may mean I can tear away at being this mentality of selfishness and not thinking about everybody else and all that.
And self-care is discipline.
And 2 things I pray about more than I can admit. All right, we're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to do our fireball questions. I got to come up with a name of that. Every time I say fireball, all kinds of things. Shoot, fire, shoot, question, something. But it's when you do it quickly. What do you call that?
Rapid fire.
That's what it's called from now on. From now on, it will be called rapid fire.
All right, so this is Rich Not Rich. You know what I mean? This is the part that I actually suggested that I do because John did a great job of speaking to Yvonne here because Monica
Brain Beauty
Brilliance. Because the brand matters.
Yes.
And they have a prior relationship. But I do have a few questions that we do ask everybody so that we can get different perspectives from everybody on these same topics. So you ready?
Yep, I'm ready.
Okay. So I like to start off with this question because y'all talked a lot about self-care, you know what I mean, affirming yourselves in the word. So like I wanted to ask, what is the dark side? What's the biggest sacrifice you've made in your career that people might not see? You know what I mean? Like, because oftentimes, like y'all talked about it in that interview a bit, showing up glitz and glamour on the front end. But like, what's the dark side? What are the sacrifices you've made that people don't get to see?
People don't always get to see the process.
Okay.
What led to that? Because social media is only going to show so much. I can't show all the process in a minute reel on social media. So you don't see the process of I don't know. You ever just look in the mirror and say, I don't know? I had many I don't know moments. And then I look and say, yeah, that's it.
Okay.
So that's the part that people don't see. It's all the time they're like, or that I walked out the house and I just did it scared.
All right, and I want to use my second question to actually double click into that because one of my questions were about assumptions versus reality.
Right.
So as far as that process, what are the assumptions that come along with that process versus the reality of it? You actually touched on it a bit, but I'd like you to expound just from that point of view.
Assumptions is just people's perspective without ever knowing the truth from the individual.
Right.
And so there is an assumption that it just automatically happens.
Okay.
But the reality is I put in the work and I'm consistently putting in the work. And work looks different, but nevertheless, I'm putting in the work. And so the thing about assumptions and even things that frustrate me about assumptions, just ask me.
Right. That frustrates me.
Just ask me. It'd be nice to think that my reputation is nice, but I'm not always aware what people say. And guess what? What everyone says about me ain't even really any of my business, to be honest. I know what I put out, but you'll know for sure if you come up to me and ask me. So that's the part for me of the reality. I do my best to show the truth so you can see that it's a process. But one of the things I don't want to be is like what they teach in the master classes of how to speak in the language and the terminologies to get people to buy in and pay for a product and a service that doesn't change their life. And so you done paid money for what somebody else did and they're not living authentic. All they did was give you a template.
Yeah.
Not me.
Little PDF. Little
PDF. Thank you. And you know, of course, people are opening businesses and trying to collect the coin. But I would say how you do it and being your most authentic self is what's going to give you permanence, and that's going to be the thing that lasts. If those other people are going to go to the next thing, to the next thing, to the next thing, it is okay to be classic in your foundation, so you don't have to feel the pressure of keeping up with the trends.
Yeah, actually, you just kind of gave me a gem on that one because I have a tendency of like, I have a creative spurt all the time, but it's like you said, if you can make something that's a little bit more classic, I like that word. I'm gonna implement that to my motion because it's like you don't gotta keep constantly just flipping and switching and changing in the outfit. So I appreciate that one registered with me personally. So my next one is, because like you said, assumptions could lead people to, like you said, just believe things without even asking you. So I would like to ask you, what are your cultural influences, right? Because there are 1,000 things people could assume are your cultural influences, but what are the things that have actually, from your background, that influenced your path and also propelled you forward on this journey?
Man, what has inspired me is the resilience of the black woman. My mother is a black woman. My grandmother, who I never met. The black woman, what we've endured through. And it took me going into adulthood to understand the lessons that I was learning as a child and to recall them in a way that helps me as an adult and as a grown woman with skin in the game, 10 toes down. So it was that of the black family, and it was that of the resistance that come against minorities, not just black women, but minorities. And so in that cultural upbringing where I was treated and had to be resilient, I never believed that I couldn't do it when I believed that I was doing right for the right reasons, or I was doing right for the righteous reasons. And so my why always trumped the reasons why not. Why not? The second half of the question that you asked, say it again.
Well, so I initially asked what the inspiration was, but what propels you forward? So I think you highlighted both of them. Elaborate.
What propelled me forward was how I was embraced by the black woman entrepreneur or the small business owner. I support small-owned black women and women-owned businesses because I understand firsthand what it means for the entrepreneur of when I pay for something. I know where my money goes.
Lord knows it means a lot.
I know that there are some entrepreneurs who don't have food at home and they're trying to figure out how to feed their kids because they're out here on a wing, a prayer, and a dream, and bigger companies are stealing the ideas because you can't afford or you don't know how to, as a smaller business, to protect your intellectual property. And so for that's what I do in my community, is I show up. Many people will say like, well, what's your business? Well, I don't have a product. I have a service that you may not always see. But in my service is in the support of making sure that my neighbor, which is not always the church member or the assembly member, my neighbor is literally my neighbor down the street. My neighbor is the one who cleans my clothes and knows my mama name and knew that my daddy died. Like my neighbor is the one who like, it's not just, oh girl, I got this new article of clothing in, but they ask me, how's your mom doing today? I come in and they know, you getting the usual today? Because when life is coming at me hard, those moments ground me. Those moments give me a sense of belonging. Those moments say somebody is looking out for me. And I do my part in community by supporting that. And one way of support, not the only way of support, but one way is spending my money and making sure that my currency is being replicated and multiplied in the community that's serving me.
And I think that's also like, go back to the part of where I was asking the cultural influence and the idea of assumptions. I was going to have a leading form in that question where I was going to say, I'm observing you as a black woman. So part of me wanted to assume that was what your cultural influence was, but I just took some of your advice in that moment, which was just ask. Right before you lead with the effort of believing something that you didn't ask. But
here's the thing, that wasn't always it. It was the diversity of it. As I began to got older, it was black. I, from Philly, went to Central High School, shout out 262. I call the internet the United Nations of high school. My friends were of all different ethnicities, all different cultures. And so as a teenager, it was embedded in me to embrace the cultural diversities. But as I've gotten older and I realized how much hatred it is for the black family, for the black man, for the black woman, and having to stand in corporate America and nonprofit America and even in church and pulpits that say that I shouldn't be there because of my gender parts and reproductive organs, that's when I said, like, no, I am resilient. And there's a resiliency in my bloodline, in my DNA, that I believe that no other culture has that's greater than that of being Black and African American.
And you know, I was supposed to only ask one more, but I gotta get two. I'm gonna get two about you.
Come on, let's bring it.
Defining success.
Yes.
What does success mean to you? And how do you feel like it differs from societal's traditional view on it?
Okay, so I define success as prioritizing my well-being above people and collecting a check.
That's like what you were reiterating in the beginning.
Right. Like, success is not built on money. And success is not about the currency, about what goes around community. But success to me is prioritizing and keeping in consistency with myself, my well-being in all areas, my well-being above people and collecting a check.
So my last question is legacy thoughts.
Yes.
Right? You talked about, you know, your lineage up until this point, so that's
Yes.
why I wanted to ask this last question, because it just was inspired by your what you were elaborating on. So when you think about your legacy, what do you hope people remember you for? And what do you believe you're on track to achieve? Right? So that's like a two-part question.
Yeah.
How would you like to be remembered, and how are you on track to achieve that?
Yeah. So I can tell you, I'm only saying yes to the things that will build into my legacy. If it's not going to be built into my legacy, meaning having the ability to last beyond me and speak for me when I'm not there. And me not being present doesn't mean that I have to have death, meaning that I have to have physically left this earth. It means it is still speaking even though I'm not there to represent it. And so that is what I'm pouring into, whether it be individuals or whether it be projects. And so I assess that if it's in alignment with my core values, my core beliefs, which is freedom and life, is this bringing life? Is this worth my time? Do I feel that this individual is called to me, or I'm called to this individual? Is this a collaborative effort, or is this a ploy of competition?
That part.
Because there is room for everyone out here.
That's the truth.
There is room for everyone out here, and you don't have to dim somebody else's light for yours to shine brighter. Like, you don't have to do that. And so the way that I am working towards that is the investment in myself, the cost to being who I am. And it's not just a monetary cost. Like, success is also it's a priceless thing that comes with a cost. Sounds like an oxymoron. Like, success cost me something and there was a price for it. And I'm doing that by the amount of investment that people don't see. You don't see how many mentors and coaches that I have. You don't see the pour that's been into me. You don't see the years of past investments, or even the disbelief that I can't believe that the moment that I'm in now is actually happening. That the realization that nothing is lost. It all works together for my good. But even when I doubted, even when I thought I missed my mark, missed my moment, missed my time, even though I was showing up for people, and even though I was being encouraged and I was being inspired, and I felt that I was doing the things, that every seed does come to fruition in its timing. So for everyone who's listening, do it, and just do it in the belief that when it's time, it will arise.
Wow, and I feel like you like really just weave together those 5 questions in that very well. Like, you highlighted a lot of the points of just like every question that I asked. So that was really fulfilling. Like, I felt like I had a full meal just then. You feel me? This is Rich Not Rich, where we just talk to people who have a wealth of knowledge, experience, and insight. Being rich is not just a financial thing.
That's right.
You feel me? This is something that we cultivate, this that we invest in over time, and this is also fostered by belief and confidence as well.
Yes.
I would like to leave y'all with that words. Y'all know where to find us, but I'd like to give you an opportunity to give us any closing words or sentiments before we go.
I would say that you are born rich. That everything inside of you already have. And life is about the journey of discovering what's already there. So if there's something burning on the inside of you that you feel that you should do, that you're passionate about, listen and believe in yourself and that you can do it. And I dispel the lie that says that you believing in yourself and talking highly of you is prideful. If you don't believe in yourself, why would anybody else follow you? And so I believe that you are great. I believe that you can live life in freedom outside of the box of people and societal constructs. That you can be so in tune with you and so in tune with the Creator, the one who created you, that I call God and some call Yahweh. That you can be so in tune with that. That is how you can live a life full of peace. And so if you want to know more about me and what I do, of course, Monica Yvonne Brain Beauty Brilliance. Please follow me on social media, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, official Monica Yvonne. And on Facebook, it's just Monica Yvonne, YVONNE.
Brains, brilliance, and beauty.
Brains, beauty, and brilliance.
Yes,
Thank you, King. Bye.